Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Joining all of us today is Alessandro Bogliari here, who I don't know if you guys know, but he is the co-founder of the Influencer Marketing Factory, as well as the CEO, and a pioneer in influencer marketing strategy and technology. We're exploring today how AI is transforming influencer discovery and the tools creators are using to scale their impact. Now, I'm sure that everyone watching knows how heavily AI has impacted the entirety of work. I don't even want to just say our industry. It's pretty just all across the board something that is changing everything. So today we're going to get into at least Alessandro's experience into what has really affected what you've done today. So thank you for joining me today to let us give some insights on this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So in the past, as I'm sure you know, influencer discovery was more manual, like scrolling through feeds and like creating spreadsheets and like detailed lists of this. Like, how has AI fundamentally changed how brands even find creators today? Like, what do you feel is the biggest shift people have like underestimated?
Absolutely. So I'd say that similarly to how we've been used to Google for the past 20 years or so, right? And then now we move to ChatGPT and Claude, right? And the others, the way how we search is different, right? The way how we search through sometimes, or we ask questions to, Alexa or to Siri, it changed quite drastically, right? We went from this very text heavy type of approach that was primarily keyword based, right? And so used to be like just, best bars in New York City, and now instead it's a bit more detailed, right? Like, can you recommend me bars in New York City under $50 that also have a fantastic view of the city? Like, now we ask more. And so the way how it changed the overall the discovery and the search engines, the same also is happening in the influencer marketing arena, right? I'd say that up until a few years ago, you primarily only searched either using a platform, right, or directly on social media. So back in the day, right, 10 years ago, there were not even that many platforms, and you basically went on, let's say, Instagram, you look for a hashtag, you find someone, and you hope for the best because it was very difficult to get data, right? That was really like at the beginning. And then platforms came along, and you were able to filter by, of course, quantitative data and filters and criteria such as, engagement rate, the number of followers, and so on. And then they started adding other things like hashtags and categories and everything like that. But again, I feel that was still very, limiting sometimes. And if you think about it, the majority of the times it was primarily about the audience data or the influencer data, but not really about the content that we're posting. And I will give you later a couple of examples of how this is drastically changing now. So long story short, I think that the approach overall changes from I'm going to put a keyword, I'm going to find influencers based more or less on the keyword that was extracted by the social media. Now using AI where I can go in a more long tail type of search, very detailed, in depth to my needs. And now AI through these platforms is not just going to look into, again, these keywords, but also the analyze the content itself. Okay, that is a big difference because up until now it was a bit difficult even to categorize influencers because unless you were reading their bio and then extracting keywords and more or less trying to put in a niche, it was very, I'd say, sometimes very difficult. I noticed, like, we as an agency, sometimes we struggled back in the day to find people in a certain category because maybe they were actually put in the wrong category because again, AI was not there. So I'd say now it's definitely better, it's faster, it's smoother, and definitely more I'd say detail oriented when it comes to, again, categories and niches and everything like that. And so again, now marketers are looking for these more specific searches, and that helps a lot when it comes to find the right influencers, because big part of a campaign is actually finding the right people, right? And if you don't find the right people, not only is time consuming, but also the client, right, might do a lot of back and forth with the agency just because it takes more time. So again, luckily now AI is helping a lot to make all this phase that is quite crucial, not only faster, but also better.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think that with the specificity of it all, it makes sense that it would cater the experience better, like to be able to choose, which I feel like maybe as to your point that maybe it was harder to categorize people previously, where now it's like you can kind of put people in their own niches like a little easier. So like where content is concerned with the influencers, like with because like I distinctly remember specifically where I mean like there's this discussion of algorithm changes a lot. Have you noticed like an effect with AI search like kind of impacting like what influencers are showing up in a way that maybe is negative, or maybe there's a positive way as well?
I'd say that we definitely got an influx of influencers and content creators using AI. I'd say in the wrong way, meaning that they um, stop almost thinking, and they were just like, let me get everything from ChatGPT or
Mhm.
others or Perplexity, you name it, right, to get ideas. I feel that we got an influx because there was this idea that I can get the copy for my script, I can get the thumbnail done, and we got an influx. I'd say the negative aspect it is that you stop really seeing the DNA of the creator
Yeah.
behind videos, because everything kind of became a bit more generic, similar to when you read an article, right? Even if now AI models are better, you can still can understand that was like produced by AI.
Mm.
And unfortunately, what happened is that now you don't have any more original content. You have a copy of a copy of a copy, and you do see a lot of AI slop, right, on YouTube these days. If you do go in the comment section, you will see people complaining, right, of the quality of certain videos dropping. So I'd say the
Yeah.
negative part is that. So I'd say that 2026 we're gonna have I think and I hope that social media will start a reward like originality
Yeah.
towards creators, right? Like I do think that we got this influx. Again, it's easier and faster, but now all the content looks like kind of the same. They don't really give anything new, right? Because people forget about one important thing, but AI cannot really generate new ideas. They just take this billion of data and they try to repurpose something that already exists. But the genius of a person or finding a very specific angle, as of now, can only come, from human beings, from their own experiences, from
Yes.
real life. So I think, and I really hope again that social media will look into what is original versus what is like again AI slop, and will start reward that, because at the end of the day, if people don't like any more videos, they will start spending less time on social media or on YouTube or other channels, and then no one like win the game, right? Actually it's a lose-lose situation. So that's what I think it's has been happening, but I really can see that it's kind of changing because people are already a bit tired of this AI only generated type of content.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I hope for the same thing. I think that I can see this trajectory of people already craving that originality
Hmm.
with like the more generalized content that has been like coming out because of these AI tools or products. And I think that and you never know, because it's becoming harder sometimes to identify when something is AI, which is like a little concerning. But I think that even with that, like things like vision and personality are even more important even when utilizing AI. So I think that that creator is still completely necessary and for that process, regardless of like whether they're using something for help. So like I see that there's like potential for positivity in the trajectory either way, because I think that that'll always be necessary, even if people have a harder time recognizing that something's being used within a video.
I mean, like, it's definitely getting way more difficult. Certain new models are almost impossible,
It's like kind of
almost
terrifying.
impossible, almost impossible to recognize, like, and this is getting difficult for millennials to recognize. Maybe Gen Z are a bit smarter on that, but imagine older people, like, again, there are so many things. I'm thinking about also all the, unfortunately, scams that are happening where,
Yeah.
scammers are using the image of famous influencers, and these days it's so easy to create a lip syncing video where they say, buy this product, right? And even regulations are not, unfortunately, up to speed on that. It's very difficult for them
Hmm.
to close them. And even if you close, let's say, an ad account that is using that, you can easily recreate address. So there is also another big issue. Again, scams around all the AI content, because that unfortunately, like, it was already a thing, but now it's really so easy to replicate things. So I don't know, like, again, that how big of a problem that is, but I did see, like, creators actually complaining that their face was used for like scams, or for things that were like a bit borderline type of situation that was not primarily a scam, but they used their face without permission. Like, there are
Yeah.
things, right, happening in that, and definitely AI is not helping. Even social media themselves, they require you to say AI, but if you don't put AI, nothing happened to your account, really.
Yeah, like there's
Right
no
now,
negative
there's
consequence. Yeah,
no
there's no consequence.
nothing, right? Like, they just like, oh, you should, right? And that is the problem sometimes of this regulation. They say you have to, or you should, and we have so much content out there that even with, again, AI checking if AI is there, right, is still difficult. And also imagine, what if AI models, right, for creation are going faster than AI recognition softwares, and now there is, like, cat and mouse
Mhm.
all the time type of run there. So very curious to see what is going to happen, but the challenging times for people online.
Yeah, no, that's a really fair point, because AI, like the AI models that are there to recognize AI are obviously going to always be behind, because the
Yeah,
advances with AI are like, this is a reaction to those
exactly.
happenings. That's actually an incredible point. Um, so like we're talking about all the fear maybe around it, which is not a good thing. But I would like
Mhm.
to know like how it is kind of helping your industry, because I know that there's
Yes,
ups and downs to AI
totally.
entirely. Um, for where AI tools are concerned, like AI is now able to like generate content,
Yeah.
edit videos, automate workflows. Like, how do you think this changes like the economy of being a creator? Like for smaller creators that couldn't scale, or like didn't
Mhm.
have the capacity to do things. Like what are you seeing on your end that has changed because of this?
Sure. So, we ask every year in our reports how creators are using AI. And, first of all, I'd say that when we saw our latest data, 90 to 95% of creators use AI in some capacity. Okay.
Mhm.
So I do remember the first time that we went out with a report about that, some people were not believing us because the number was that big, and they were like, that's impossible. But not only us, then also other, right, publications and other reports find actually out that 9 out of 10 are using it, right? I'm using it. I'm pretty sure I use it. Like, everyone uses it in some capacity, and the majority of the times it is to either ideate things. So one of the issues sometimes with creators is that you might at a certain point stop like having new ideas, right? Or is how can I create something that's maybe a bit different, which format should I introduce, right? All that type of things, they use AI to really have a sort of at least input, right? They just want to see, let's say, generate 20 titles for my next YouTube video, and then you start working on that. The same also they do for copy and scripts. Um, Either before you were doing that yourself, or you had to pay a freelancer that takes a few days to generate, and can take you like can cost you like a few $100s. The same also is for video editing. Now, video editing, of course, if you do want to have your style, it's very important that you still do a lot of things yourself. But think
Mhm.
about removing all the and all the silence, right, in a video. Before, right, it took hours, right, just to remove those. And now you go on CapCut or anything similar to that, or all the Premiere from Adobe, right? And sorry, like all the Adobe suite, and you just click literally a button that say remove all the silence or the placeholders and filling there, filling words, and you can easily remove them. Think about all the AI captions that you not only can put your own language, but you can easily translate captions with a click of a button. That meant that before you needed a translator, first of all, and then you had someone that checked every second and put the keywords, sorry, like the captions. So again, there are so many things that are not necessarily removing completely the human being behind that, but there are helping to get the same content out, maybe in a fraction of the time and also costs associated. And so, as you were saying earlier about having teams and everything, maybe before you needed a team of a few people, and now you can really do a lot of things by yourself. Now, with that said, it depends really by the content production and the quality of production that you want to generate. If you really want to just do a few videos, to put them out there on the internet, you can do it everything yourself. You can use, again, CapCut or similar to edit your videos and put captions. So you can use ChatGPT or Claude to ideate ideas. And there are a lot of, like, again, AI tools that the creators use on a daily basis. There are even now these days, like, agents where, a creator can easily go in there and say they create automation with an agent that just say, I input the idea and then you generate everything for me. I even know, like, a lot of people that actually create a sort of avatar of themselves with lip syncing. And now with a click of a button, you can actually create up to 100 videos. It's you, but not really you, right? Because you now generate a bunch of videos based on ideas. So again, you can definitely automate that. If you still want instead having like the best content possible, I'm talking about YouTube quality videos, maybe a bit longer, with color correction, like all that type of things, you still need someone that knows what they're doing, right? And so I think that, again, to all in these, we asked creators and they say as of now they don't really see AI as a replacement. They still see it as a way to help on these day-to-day very boring task that earlier took like hours, right? And these days you can just say, or even just like, I'm thinking about if you want to generate a few YouTube thumbnails for YouTube, right? That you can actually A/B test. There
Yeah.
are there are professionals that do that for a living, right? There are YouTube thumbnail professionals that just do that. But again, if you are maybe new to the game or you had to generate a bunch of them, like 20 of them, there are tools to easily do that. So again, like I think that they are not a lot of creators are not scared about it. They're using it because they can see that it helps. And the same also is for brand marketers on the other side, right? Influencer agencies and so on. We do use AI sometimes to maybe, again, having an idea of an input for even the creators, right, or for the brand, and then you build on top of it. You can easily take a bunch of examples that worked well from other campaigns in the past, and you can say, analyze these. Why do you think that this worked? And now you can double down on something based on data. You can even use AI tools for sentiment analysis that analyze what happens in the video exactly, right, and see to the second. Now, there are, again, two approaches, right? There is one that is very scientific that says, I want to look into the exactly each second of this video, and now I understand the science behind that, the psychology, and I want to recreate something similar. Or there are other times where you just want to have a sense, right? Like, why this video worked well? Oh, because there is like this good tempo every couple of seconds. The change is change, like the scene is changing. The color correction is great because of the psychology of this color. Yada yada yada, right? So you can do basic things. You can do Hollywood style things these days, basically.
Yeah, it's a huge range of what's able to happen. And I think that, like, I think the capacity has really changed for people as well, which I think is like, I want to think as a rule as a genuinely good thing, because I think that there are so many, like, people with amazing ideas out there that just can't implement them or like execute them because of time or maybe even skill set sometimes, that just like could create something amazing but genuinely just don't have the capacity to do so. So I think that's something that's really cool about this.
And this is on the generation side, but like when you want to generate things and build things, but AI is also used to really analyze things that you did in the past or your competitors, right? And now you can analyze not only the content, but also something very important. You can use AI to do a comment analysis, understanding the sentiment analysis behind that. So whenever you do your video, something also very interesting to do, either if you're a creator or a brand, it would be analyze what people are saying under each video. Because now you can really see, in addition to likes and dislikes of a YouTube video or the likes on a Instagram reel or a TikTok, it's very important to understand how people feel about that video. So now if you really want to, like, again, having a very scientific approach, you can take your last 20 videos and analyze all the comments and see what they're saying about the video. Do they love it? Do they love it? What else they would do differently, and so on. And so again, people think about AI many times to generate new things, but I think that also the analytical part at scale, right? It's huge. You can add a Excel file, to Claude and just say, make me a executive summary of all these. So imagine the power. And again, earlier, like before you needed like hours of work, and now boom, 2 minutes, you have a summary of everything that what works, what doesn't, the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy what it's capable of. Like, I mean, so for the trajectory of the future, what do you think something about AI that you feel like brands might not be prepared for today, like that you foresee changing?
Maybe I don't know if this gonna go to the direction of the end-to-end type of execution, right? Right now, I think that there is this idea that AI can do everything. Right now, you still need, again, a human being behind that basically put all the different pieces of the puzzle together. But as I was saying before, certain AI agents are able to do end-to-end. You put an input, you get an output, and they do everything. Like there are tools like NN8 or similar that they are a bit technical, but once you know how to use them, you truly can create a machine that works for you. And so I think that certain brands are not realizing the power of that, and agencies as well. And I do think that some, don't understand again the power, and that unfortunately you can be replaced if you want. Think about even just, photo shoots or those product pictures, right? Before you needed to go into a studio with professional lighting, you needed a crew of people. Now there are tools that literally you just put your a picture of, let's say, a bottle or whatever, a sneakers, whatever, in your hands, right? And you say, create 10 ads for me. And boom, you have it, right? So I just think that sometimes we do not realize that how easy it is. But again, as said, at the same time, I think the originality will win. After a while, people will be a bit sick to see the same sort of output, same style as well, and those brands that will able to again use AI as a helper, as something that can actually help you on a day to day without replacing that, again, that the DNA, right, the tone of voice, the touch and feel of your product, of your brand, of your personality. Those will win. But again, I do think that a lot of people know about AI. To wrap on this, just to say that I think that many brands don't really know the real power of AI. I think that only 1% of people are very technical to understand what is going out there, and the majority are just like using ChatGPT basically, right?
Yeah.
On a day to day. So it's, again, I think it's scary. It's exciting at the same time, as everything in technology. It depends really how you use it. But we've been following along, and I'm curious myself to see. And it's very difficult to say, to be honest, the trajectory, because today, like, look at what is up. Like, look back in 2 years ago, AI, we were like, whatever, it's going to take so much time to really, get to a level that is difficult to distinguish. And now, look at every day what is happening. It's very difficult, right, to even be in the loop of the latest trends. So I don't know the future of this, to be honest, like to the dollar, because it's impossible. Because today I can tell you this, and tomorrow there is a new app that changed completely the game, and we'll be seeing that, right? Like every day there is something new happening that is actually changing the game, and everyone is kind of trying to copying each other, similar to what happened back in the day with social media, right? That TikTok came along, and then Instagram was like, we need to do reels, and then YouTube was like, let me do YouTube shorts, right? The same is happening with AI. Each model is kind of trying to get better than the other, and now even AI, it's a bit difficult to really understand which AI is better, because now a lot of them are offering kind of the same services and features. So again, it's such a like very fast-paced environment that it's quite difficult to say where this is going, because we don't know. I don't think that no one knows, to be honest.
No, I think that's completely true, and I think that's a very perfect ominous note to end on, to leave everyone guessing. But I mean, like, if you said that you could predict the future, I mean, you'd be lying. It's really, I mean, all that we can say is that we know that this is something that advances rapidly and has been. So
Sure.
there's just like, it's really just the safest bet to just be on the lookout for what's new, because it's constantly changing. I mean, like, but it's impossible to keep up with. You're right. It's something that you can try your best to, but unless you invest every minute of the day looking at what's new, you're not going to get
it's basically a second job, understanding what is happening, right, on all these AI, these new models and comparison. And there are people that do that for a living. They test different AI, they come out with like all the latest updates, and they try to understand what is happening. And they do that basically, like as a normal job. And that again, that's the thing. Like a lot of brands don't understand the complexity behind that, but it's complex. And you need to spend enough hours per week to just be in the loop of what is happening, not even to be an expert. So yeah, a lot.
A lot. We'll end it at a lot. But
Yes.
Alessandro, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a really great glimpse into the influencer industry, because I think that the conversations that we have about AI are like a lot of times solely related to marketing, like designated roles, and this is something that has to do with marketing but is very specific and like not something that I think a lot of people think about as impacting, but AI is impacting literally every industry.
Everything.
And so I loved to learn about this, so thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. No, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope you got to learn as much out of this episode as I did. Thank you so much again. Have a lovely day, guys.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.